Good morning. How's everyone been? I'm very happy to be here at Berkeley Buddhist Temple, and thank you to Reverend Kuhara for allowing me these opportunities to speak with my training wheels on. So let's go ahead and start with Gasho. Namo Mita Boots, Namo Mita Boots, Namo Mita Boots, Naman Dabs, Naman Dabs. So the topic is waiting. It's during this week, actually, I've had a number of meetings as I usually do. And ever since the election took place on Tuesday, I think whatever meeting I was in, whatever group I was a part of, we pretty much just stopped and talked for the first 20 minutes about how 2020 continues to offer us surprises. I shouldn't make light of it because these twists and turns have been very consequential. They've been very, very impactful. And clearly, we can say that the people of our country do not all take the same view or the same approach to our various challenges. And I'm not just talking about if you went this way or that way with the election, if you went red or blue. Those teams, they may feel good to us, but they are arbitrary. Each person is unique to themselves. We're limited by our own views and our own inputs. So I just think it's important to remember that what may seem like one team's shared viewpoints are really a spectrum of views, based on our different experiences. And some of those feelings can even be shared with those on the other team, so to speak. Nobody likes to lose. We want the leaders who we believe in. We don't want to wait for the changes that we want or be subject to changes that we don't agree with. Last week, Reverend Kuhara talked about the labels we assign to our experiences, to our likes and to our dislikes. And I can feel the way that breaks down who we are as a country. The way that red or blue feeds into this type of judgment. We might take our personal set of values and apply them, see who does or doesn't align with them. And over time and under various circumstances and pressures, we make certain choices. Sometimes choices of acceptance, choices of non-acceptance, and maybe an increasing desire to stick with our view and the people who share it. And I get it. These are values that we hold dear to ourselves. We're here in this Sangha together as seekers and fellow travelers in the Dharma, walking this Buddhist path. So, when we talk about like minds, we have a lot to learn from each other and to be inspired by in our shared moments of light. And that I totally appreciate and look forward to actually every week that we get to, see each other now. So when we're faced with division and when we're faced with the reality of inequality, these conditions can either inform or threaten our opportunities to grow. They can provoke our anger when we see actions we feel are wrong, and provoke sadness when circumstances feel out of control. So we seek control over our destinies. And living in an individualistic democracy, we are told that each and every one of us can exercise this kind of control. But again, I go back to this question: what happens when the result doesn't go the way we want it to go? And what happens while we're waiting for the results that we want to happen? I think when we're waiting for something we really want, time really slows down. Time gets really, really slow when our mind is caught up in this kind of craving. This is not only craving for the big structural change that we always talk about at election time when we consider the direction of our country and our communities, but just any kind of craving or desire for the wait to be over and for us to get what we want. When I'm waiting in line at the supermarket, there are other people waiting with me. Each of those people came with their own priorities, their own plans, and their own expectations. But because I'm not a very patient person, all I think about is who is standing between me and the front of the line. between me and the checkout, between me and the freedom to go about my day the way I want to again without obstruction. I think that Reverend Kuahara, in fact, I'm sure Reverend Kuahara has talked about this as well, using this kind of analogy of the supermarket and the way that our view kind of becomes narrowed when we're waiting for what we want. That self-centeredness, centering our lives on ourselves and our expectations, is actually much easier when we say, well, those other people that aren't meeting my expectations, their reasons are wrong. Their reasons aren't as good as mine. So actually, I'll let you know something that happened with me during the same week. The day after the election, actually, I received what I would consider to be a pretty rude email. At least that's the way I deemed it, right? So, by the way, if you're watching this and you sent me an email over this past week, it's not you. Trust me. But anyway, that email said that something I had done had really caused this person a great inconvenience. And that this person didn't ask me, they told me, they directed me, do not do it again. So I'll tell you, I was already on edge because of everything I just described to you, waiting for these election results I wanted, and maybe feeling frustrated with these delays. So then I get this email, and this is something I can kind of do something about, right? I can deal with this, and I will tell you, this situation just kind of blew up in my head. How dare they? What did I do wrong? Whatever I did was no big deal. This is an overreaction. Just immediately rationalizing my position, and of course finding that I was right and they were wrong. And I was so stuck on it, this was all just one day, okay? I was so stuck on it that I even went back and I was thinking, here's all the things that they did wrong to me in the past, with this situation, that situation, and so on. And at one point I remembered, it just kind of crossed my mind, wait a minute, because this is someone I know, okay? Our early interactions were great. We got along, very friendly, things were good, kind and courteous to each other. But of course, because, I was in this state of mind now, and I was unhappy, I sort of just dismissed all of that. It wasn't really that good, it wasn't really that nice, so I could just stay fixed on my, unhappiness, and this sort of attitude that I'm dealing with at this moment. And so, I assumed that this person probably wanted a response, something where I said, oh yes, I was wrong and you were right, and, so on. But I refused, I stuck it out. I said, let them wait. I'm not, going to respond to this situation. So what did that do? Well, in the end, I was really just sticking it to myself, right? Because I'm the one that was living with this situation. I'm the one that was, unhappy because of it. And, I allowed it to live in my head, to make me feel upset, and to sort of shut down an opportunity for resolution, because in my head, this person was not on my team, right? And as I sort of said, it just made the day long, I don't know if you got it from just that description. It's just kind of, if you've had those days, and hopefully you haven't, maybe it's just me and I shouldn't be the one talking here then, you just know how that kind of feels. And look, I understand that not every conflict can be worked out. So I understand that sometimes people's opinions and approaches to each other are far apart. I think recognizing that reality is healthy when it allows both parties to move on respectfully. But when we want to be right, when we really want to be right, we can't move on. And we might look backward angrily or look forward anxiously. We can't help but just sort of be stuck in time, like I said. Stuck waiting for this feeling to be over, waiting for this not to be this way anymore. And we're not really thinking of, well, how is it? How is it right now? So, I would say related to that, watching the news can kind of bring this kind of stress, because it hits these same kinds of weaknesses. You're given some information, but not all the information you want. We don't know what will happen next. And we develop this dependency on waiting for the information that we think we need, looking for the information that we want so we can understand and kind of make this rational explanation. Well, this is why this happened. This is what's going to happen next. And what will happen, it just kind of goes round and round. So, we end up playing psychic, or we end up playing Monday morning quarterback. And again, we're always just waiting for more, waiting for what's not now. When things go our way, sure, we're up, up, up in the moment. And when things don't go our way, we're down, down, down. So for me, whenever I feel that I'm getting too caught up, when time slows down as I deal with a personal issue or try to process a news event that maybe has me on edge, I turn to the teachings for a wider view, a wider perspective. And I think of the foundational myth of our tradition, the story of Bodhisattva Dharmakara's quest to become the Buddha we now know as Amida Buddha. This is the myth that we chant about when we chant Jusei or Sanbutsuge in our services. And what happens in this narrative is, Dharmakara not only wishes to become a Buddha, but to create a land for all beings to reach enlightenment. Dharmakara even makes a vow, a promise, that if we cannot all reach this land, then Dharmakara will not attain enlightenment himself. Everyone has to be able to join the party. And as you can imagine, this is not an easy vow to fulfill. It is not an easy journey for Dharmakara to embark on. And so I just wanted to read to you an extended passage, if it's okay, from the larger sutra about Dharmakara's quest. So if you'll join me in Gasho as we reflect on these passages. They're a little long, so keep your hands together a little while if it's okay. After proclaiming these vows, which are so rare in all the worlds, he actually resided firmly in them. Acquiring all the varieties of virtue, he adorned the pure Buddha land of vast, majestic virtues. He performed bodhisattva practices in this way, passing innumerable, countless, incalculable, unequaled kotis of nayutas of millions of kalpas. That's a fancy way of saying a long time. During that time, he never harbored a single thought of greed, anger, or folly, nor any impulse of desire, harmfulness, or wrath. He cherished no thought of form, sound, smell, taste, or tangible thing. The constant warmth of affection and respect he felt for all sentient beings was like that one would feel for close relatives. His nature was harmonious and adaptable, without any violence or ill will. He always embraced a heart of compassion and patience for all sentient beings and was never deceptive or flattering, never slothful. Encouraging them to good acts, he led them to seek pure virtues. For the sake of beings everywhere, he was stalwart and fearless and never retreated. He benefited all the worlds and brought his great vow to perfect completion. Namo Mita Boots. Namo Mita Boots. Namo Mita Boots. Namandavas. Namandavas. This passage comes from the larger sutra, which Shinran Shonin, the founder of our tradition, cites as the core text that represents the heart of Jodo Shinshu. But Shinran's intention here is different from what we might call mainstream Buddhist thought of the time. The thinking of that time was that through sustained practice, we could cultivate and perfect these types of virtues, the virtues of a bodhisattva, as we work our way to enlightenment. And really I mean a very limited group of people who would be able to do that. Shinran saw it a different way. He centers on Dharmakara's frame of mind. Remember I mentioned Dharmakara never had a single thought of greed, anger, or folly. And Shinran asks everyone, if we're really honest with ourselves, do we approach life that way? As rational as we think we are, can we really say we have respect for all beings at all times? That we never have feelings of anger or ill will? that we always have a heart of compassion and patience? Well, speaking for myself, I can say no. We are human, and it's perfectly okay because of another lesson that this myth teaches us. We are part of the larger movement toward a better way. Remember, this isn't Dharmakara's promise for self-enlightenment. It's a promise for universal enlightenment. It's a way of expressing the universe's collective wisdom and compassion delivered to us and inviting us to become a part of it. The story of Dharmakara is a way of lifting us out of our expectations, of lifting us out of our suffering, of lifting us out of time. On this journey, it's not about waiting for the next news report or the next election or the next administration or what's the next stop all along our lives on the way to the end of our lives. Amida Buddha reaches us from beyond time with the heart of compassion and patience for all sentient beings. The next stop has been accomplished over innumerable, countless, incalculable, unequaled kotis and nayutas of millions of kalpas. It is not even really expressible as time in a way that we can grasp, right? This is what we call taking the long, inexpressibly long view and entrusting ourselves to this movement beyond ourselves, of allowing ourselves to hear it from wherever it comes from, traveling to reach us right at this moment. You never have to wait to hear the Dharma because it is always there waiting for you to hear it. Within time as we perceive it, yes, we will continue to face challenges, inequality, selfishness, anger, greed, ignorance. Beyond time, though, lies the tools that we can use to face ourselves and move forward just as we are. When I think of this, taking this view, it puts me at ease. It really kind of calms down all the feelings I discussed earlier in this message. It makes me realize that as an individual, I'm connected to something larger, and that maybe my actions can be more mindful of that connection instead of focusing on what's happening or not happening for me or for my team. I'm grateful to have the Buddha's heart of compassion to turn to, and in awe of the wisdom cultivated beyond myself, beyond my life, and beyond my time. It still comes to benefit me right here, right now. So actually at this point, your wait is over, and I am finished with today's Dharma message. So if you'll join me in Gasho once more. Namo Mita Boots, Namo Mita Boots, Namo Mita Boots, Namandavs, Namandavs. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and I hope you will enjoy the wait until we meet again.